Welcome to the Night Temple, a weekly podcast about art, memory and inspiration.
Hi everyone, welcome to the Night Temple. I'm your host Carisa.
And I'm Andrew.
And we're here today with Romy Hoffman of Agender. Hello and welcome, Romy. She's an incredible musician. And actually, I've been a fan of yours for a really long time, since Australia. So,
all right.
Yeah.
It's great to be here with you both.
It's really,
to
really
hear
great.
that familiar accent. Feel at home.
Yeah. So I am curious, because I have been a fan of yours for a while, Andrew as well.
Yeah.
And you saw Romy play in Australia before you moved over here too, right?
Yeah, I heard Macromantics.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that far back.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was a fan of Macromantics as well.
Yeah.
So I want to find out, I guess, what inspired you to become a musician? How did that evolve? And also, like, where did you grow up in Australia and how did it evolve for you? How did your musical career evolve, I guess? From childhood.
Sure. Rewind the tape. I grew up on the eastern suburbs of Sydney, around Bondi and Rose Bay. I'm trying to think how it all started. I think, like, I was a very shy, introverted kid, and I grew up in the 90s. And, I went to school, like, I was friends with all, like, the, nice, pretty girls, and then I became friends with, like, the bad punk rock boys and got into music through them. But I remember in the 90s, I had an older sister. I still have an older sister who... She's like 5 years older than me, and she had a bunch of friends who would come over to our house and they would bring guitars, and our parents would be out and away, and these guys would come and stay, and I just saw this one guy play the guitar really well, and I was with the punk rock boys. I was getting into Jimi Hendrix at the time, and I just saw that, and I was like, I need to learn how to play the guitar. So this guy taught me just some chords, and he had a 4-track as well.
Yes. And
I don't know, he just taught me chords, and then he was getting really noodly, and I was like, I don't want that. Like, I don't want to be like a virgin. I knew, and I studied music in high school as well. Like, I did music for my HSC, which was really beneficial in that. The theory stuff always just felt like, I don't care about that. I don't want that. Like, it's like the raw emotion and the immediacy and just, playing something, creating something out of nothing. That felt what I wanted to explore. And it was good. Doing music in high school was good because Logic had just come out, and my music teacher kind of knew. She was like, this is where everything's headed. She was like, you need to learn this, because she just kind of knew that it was all like technology was coming. So that was super helpful because she taught me, like, we learned Logic, then I got it and I had it at home. But at first, again, having the 4-track, I just stayed in my bedroom and played the guitar and just started writing songs. And then I went to school with Ben Lee, and I, like, got better at the guitar. And me and those punk rock boys at school we had a band where we would, like, cover songs and just mess around. I don't know if you remember, like, the Australian band Fur from Brisbane. There was, like, that happening in Sydney, and, like, Magic Dirt. And, so we were, like, playing stuff that was like that, like, kind of distorted, grungy. It was the 90s. Yeah. And Ben saw us, and I became friends with Ben. And, like, then he asked me to join Noise Addict, which I did, and then got to tour America. I'm trying to give a very concise version of this. But, it was initially what got me into music was just, like, bedroom stuff, like bedroom, and just being a shy kid who didn't talk much and just, like, went to my bedroom and wrote songs, and just, my parents were worried about me. I didn't talk, but that was how I expressed myself. It just felt safe to me to, like, stay in my bedroom and make music.
Yeah. So for me, like, I had a 4-track as well, and then an 8-track, but I feel like it became this intimate way of, like, recording myself and having a certain kind of intimacy around recording. Have you had that experience with recording as well. And is it something that has continued now? Like, how instrumental are you in your recording process, I guess?
Yeah, it's all very intimate at first. Like, even with my agenda stuff, I demo everything at home. Like, I don't like writing with other people. Like, it's just so, like, singular, and this is my experience and my vision, and, like, I don't want to write, like, let's, like, kumbaya together in the, you know. And I'm lucky with my band, like, we're all older and, like, they don't have the time. So, like, let's sit and jam. It's like, no, so everything, I mean, I still use Logic, and I'll just demo everything myself at home and play every part and every instrument, and then give it to my band. But, yeah, I mean, I think it was, like, a product of my environment. Like, growing up in the 90s, I was very into, like, indie rock music and... like Mary Lou Law, all the Kill Rock Stars, K Records, that bedroom pop thing was just, like, happening. And so, you know, it was just like, oh, you can do this. And the music I was listening to was very personal and private and probably recorded on 4 tracks and stuff. So I would like to. I mean, part of me's thought of, like, should I just buy a 4-track or an 8-track and just... I mean, the next Agenda record, I just want to, like, record like that. I don't want I just want to do it as a band, mic set up, and just do it in one take. Which is always why I wanted to work with Steve Albini to, like, create that, because I just think it just loses something with doing things over and over and everyone tracking on their own. You know, I just, like, I want to get back to
being in a room and playing together.
Yeah, and then the magic, something happening there, like something, you all create something together. There's, like, an energy rather than just, all this singular stuff.
Were there people that were specific sources of inspiration for you the most through all that time?
I mean, in the 90s, like Sonic Youth, that's probably a different thing. But, you know, Bikini Kill, like, I saw it, like, Waterfront Records do an in-store in, like, 95.
Awesome.
Like Mary Lou Lord, I don't know if you know that record.
No.
It's just, like, very folky, girl and an acoustic guitar. I mean, I was into so much stuff. And I loved Sebado and that indie rock stuff was, like, very important to me.
Cool.
Your music has a kind of political, like, ambience to it. And my experience is that it always kind of did.
Yeah, it always did.
Yeah, so how did the politics come into it? I guess just, you know, as far as origins go with this kind of thing, how did that sort of thing evolve? Because you're an important person in Australia in regards to, like, the female voice as well.
Yeah. I know, I don't think the American audience will know the, like, macromantic stuff as much, but it keeps popping up weirdly. Even my friends who are around, and I got to tour because Kill Rock Stars put that out, so the people who were around, like, for it understood it.
Yeah. So Macromantics was that your first solo kind of led thing? Yeah.
That was my first solo thing.
Yeah.
Like, after Noise Addict and but I feel like it gestated. It was like going to America with Noise Addict, getting to tour in 95, 6. And we were, like, in New York, and I, like, had a tour manager who was like the Wu-Tang Clan records came out, like Dalziell, all of that stuff was happening. And, like, he was like, it was just weird of someone going, you need to just listen to this stuff. And and I don't know, just, like, the medium of rap became, like, someone whose mind is just working all the time and has so many ideas. It was just kind of like, like, I literally wrote for 4 years or 5 years before, like, that project came to fruition. And, like, met random guys who would make beats for me. And it started off as, like, a very abstract rap thing. Like, when I found out what all the abstract rap stuff that was happening in the like late 90s, early 2000s, like underground rap. Then it, but politics, sorry, I'm trying to stay on track.
Oh, no,
don't worry about staying on track.
But that was my first solo thing.
And just, like, so people realize it's rap. And
it's fast rap. Or just, like, a lot going on. I rap in an Australian accent. It's no, it was very singular to my experience of me trying to figure out the world. Like, it's,
Yeah.
you know, it's, and I toured, you know, when I played with a lot of punk band. Like, you know,
Yeah.
I toured with My Disco in Australia. And
Yeah.
Oz hip hop was just like, I never felt part of it. I wasn't part of it. But like the
Yeah.
women.
Yeah, it didn't feel like what you were doing was part of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's
It
like
was
grown into its own thing. But I
Yeah.
felt I was like playing, I was fit more in with the punk kids because I feel like Macromantics is like a punk project. Like the live shows are very performance art, like very kind of intense,
Yeah.
punky in a way. And so I always like, punk is my
Is
religion
punk.
and my essence. So anything I do, it's going to have that.
What is punk for you? Like, what is, like, can you say what that heart is for you? Because I feel like punk embodies so much for so many people.
Yeah. I think it's just creating something out of nothing, not
Yeah.
needing anything, but just like a raw spark. And through that raw spark, just, and I think it is political. Like, I think it
Yeah.
is seeing the world through a political lens and then seeing how everything ties together
Yeah.
and how, like, politics. I mean, it's the post-punk thing is more like existential.
Right.
But yeah, I think it's that for me. It's just like it's like a feeling and a energy to like tap into.
Yeah.
But it is like a raw, just,
Raw, spontaneous
Yeah.
creation.
Yeah, exactly.
Without rules. And
I don't, there aren't,
requirements. Yeah.
you can abandon
Yeah.
everything and rules and stuff and just,
Which is really like, you know, creativity.
yeah, exactly.
Like
it does.
in its,
Yeah,
you know, original form.
exactly. That's what it
Yeah.
feels like.
Yeah.
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 So Macromantics, it was part of that, and then part of Macromantics is to me something that you still have now, which is like your lyrics, your writing, like your spoken word or sung word. It's all very I don't know if it's like violently poetic or something like that.
Very like immediate.
Immediate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think I've found my comfort in Agenda now
Yeah.
where it is rap delivery stuff. A lot of the songs
Yeah,
are, it's
it
like
is.
fast. It's,
Yeah.
you know, and yeah, so I've got it and I'm like, oh, this is kind of the punk, whatever Agenda is, which is post-punk, I guess.
Yeah.
Feels like the right medium for me. It's like, oh yeah, this is, I don't like singing so much anymore. My voice is deteriorated. I saw
Yeah.
this performance I did on Rock Quiz in like 2008. I never watched it because it was such a dark time for me. And like
Yeah.
someone in my life was like, you should watch it. It's really, and I was like, wow, my voice sounded so good. But it's just, yeah, I don't want to try here. I was trying to like, after Macromantics was making like pop, like dark pop music, which then just
Yeah.
turned into like my Romy, the record I made for that, which was
Yeah.
just like
Oh,
a
right.
passage. But yeah, it's like, the rap kind of delivery feels the most, and monotonal stuff, like
Yeah.
speaking and not having to sing
Yeah.
feels comfortable for me. So yeah, it is. Like, I'm like, oh, I've like returned to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it feels really fun to hear. And
Oh, thanks.
it feels, you know, like the energy is really strong. And
Yeah.
the delivery of the lyrics is really impactful because you can hear them.
Oh, thanks.
You know, really well.
Yeah.
And
Recording vocals is, I hate it. It's so hard. And being a Virgo and perfectionist and takes and it's like agony. It's the most agonizing thing.
it's funny because you can't...
Perfectionist punk.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I know. I'm
perfectionist.
trying to let go of that because I was, and now I'm just like I'm like, it has. Yeah, there's something in the first two takes. It's just always a bit. Once you start overthinking it, but I am. That's why I want to record as a band in a theater. You know, just like not doing it over. And so it's just whatever happened in that magical
Yeah.
moment. Like the imperfection of that is. Yeah, punk and perfection don't go well together.
And it's funny when I recorded with Steve Albini, he was like, you know what? Every record store has this bargain bin at the at the entry where all the people that wanted to make everything perfect, where those records went.
Wow, that's good. I'm going to keep that.
Yeah.
He's like music's, the
Yeah.
magic's gone.
And yeah, he
and
was.
they end up in the bargain bin, but they're really precisely recorded stuff.
Yeah, I don't want to be a bargain bin babe.
Well, your stuff
that.
always has like, I feel like you can feel the energy. So obviously, you managed to retain that
Yeah,
quality.
yeah, it's
whatever
still
you-
there.
Yeah.
Yeah, even on the 10th take, there's something.
Yeah. So politics is part of this, and is it like an aspect of politics that draws you in, the most as well? I mean, even within like the political sphere, there's so many subcategories. Do you find that, I don't know, feminism, or the workers' rights, or like, is there some element of it that always appeals, or is that an ever-changing thing?
It's
too?
ever-changing.
Yeah.
Yeah. If I think of, I studied media theory and philosophy. I think my work, and because I studied, and then it's like I was going to go and do honours, but then like the macromantic stuff kind of took off, and so I never got to. So it's always coming from like a media perspective.
Yeah.
So whatever's going on in the media and the way like it's commented on, and it's kind of through that lens. But I'd see what I do as journalism. Like I feel like I'm a journalist and a cultural, social commentator, and it is always morphed. There's not like one political thing. Like if I think of what was happening in the macromantic 2006 to 8. In my early rap days writing, I was like, the early 2000s, like the very like ad busters, anti-globalization, kind of anti-Wall Street, that.
Yeah.
So I was commenting on all of that stuff. I don't think I was writing about Australian politics, but so American politics always, and then like post 9/11 and that was interesting to me. So it is always just like indicative of the times. Like I do think I am sent here to like comment on what is happening at the time, and it's always shifting, and but it is.
That's really like an amazing way to see yourself as an artist, as a journalist. And
I do.
Cultural like commentator, and just giving that. I guess it leads back to the idea of the immediacy. Thing. Where what's that spontaneous thing is like literally rooted in the immediacy of the time as well.
Yeah.
And like the headline kind of aspect of like choruses and stuff like that,
That's true too.
It's like a kind of headline.
That's true.
Like here it is. And sometimes it's, sometimes it, like you've got choruses, like lyrics that are like, it doesn't, that might be like a paradox or something like that, or some play on words, but it's kind of like up front. I think I always say like it with Agender, and I feel like rap macromantic, I could say a million things in one song. I feel like if you're writing like pop song, R&B or something, it's like very just like straight up, this is the theme, this is that. But like punk rock and hip hop have always been able to like say a million things that you want. And
it's true.
but the headline thing, I feel like with Agender, it's like the records we want to make are kind of like a pastiche and a collage. It should feel like you're flipping through a newspaper where one song is like there's a headline and that, and then it's like the next song's another page in the newspaper.
And it's cool because you do that with genre as well. Like, it's all kind of like this punk thing, but I feel like some stuff I hear like, like I hear like elements of, I don't know, crust punk or even like the Ramones or something. And then some stuff is just more like, post-punk with like synth, you know, and like maybe like a little bit more internal, like,
Yeah, it is all like
and
that.
on the same record.
It's like a mixtape or something.
Yeah.
That's just how I write. I really don't set out to go, I want to do it like that. Like I'll just have chords, have a click track going, and then like I guess the click track might decide like which you know, how fast it is, if it is going to be like a faster Ramonesy cross-punk thing, or if it's slower, like Preach or Damage, then it can just be like more of that like harder hitting post. So that's how I start, and then but I'm not like, oh, I'm going to write a song that I want it to sound like Wire or something, and then, you know, like Crass, or it's just, it starts with the idea, click track, guitar, and then, or a synth line or something, and then it just kind of forms from there. But it just happens that way.
Do you have stuff pre-written, or do you, jam with yourself, so to speak? Like
But both.
I
write every day. So I write every morning, and then I'll edit. I'll like, when I'm like, okay, I feel like making music, because it comes in waves. I'm not like sitting there every day trying to write song, but I'll be like, there'll be periods I'm like, I feel musical, I can feel it coming on, and I'll go through all my writing and edit it and find lines and words, and then things will start making sense. Again, it's that collage pastiche thing. And
So when you say you write every day, you mean lyrics?
Not really lyrics. They're just like, I guess it's journaling, but with I don't know. And then it's
like an automatic kind of
writing.
It's
automatic,
thing.
But it's like what's going on and how I'm feeling, and then like ideas I have, or like a philosophical thing, or this happened. So it's just different every day, or it might just be like poet. And then, you know, I mean,
and then you can extract lyrics.
I extract stuff, and then, you know, I'll like write stuff on my phone throughout the day if I have ideas, and then, you know, I do drawings and stuff, but that's separate. And,
your drawings are awesome.
I know, everyone wants the book. I'm like, I don't need another DIY. If someone wants to help me make a book and have an art show, sure, I'm not. I just need, I don't want to have another DIY where I do it all myself. I'm too old. But I will. Of course, DIY till we die, but I need a break.
But also, like, help artists.
Help is good.
I know,
is really like this weird thing that in the modern age, it's like you can do whatever you want except get help. You know, like we still need help.
And everyone's a brand and a content creator, and just do it yourself and have a TikTok and edit it all. And it's just, but then you need a job. It's
Yeah, I love the discipline of you writing every day, because I just really feel like writing every day has this cornucopia of benefits, from psychological to artistic benefits. And is that something that was like a conscientious decision that you made, or is it just something you can't help but do?
Yeah, I've done it forever.
Wow,
but
so cool.
I'm lucky. I'm very disciplined. I don't know if it's Virgo. I think it is. I've always been disciplined, and I do think it's like it's a good trait. Good trait to have. I mean, I love rituals and routines. Also, like when I got sober, like I have things in place to like get me feeling baseline okay. You know, like every morning my routine is like just, there's a lot, and I've always been disciplined about being vegan, exercising, watching like a film every night as a cinephile, basically. Like I have these things that are very regimented. But I do think discipline ties into punk rock. Maybe it's more of just like the straight edgy hardcore thing, but I think you need it, and it is some link between punk rock and discipline. To me, they feel linked and similar. Yeah,
I love that. I really like that view of it, because I feel like it's something that, you know, for people that don't maybe understand, you know, punk aesthetics or punk, you know, values, it is being, you know, dedicated to punk rock or being rooted in a punk rock sort of philosophy. It is about being a person, you know, of the people, and it is about taking action in a consistent kind of way.
Yeah, that's true.
For your community, for your culture, for your society. And so, it is a very disciplined thing. And I think it also just like offers on an emotional level, like, you know, a way to have individuated thought too, you know, that doesn't just kind of eat whatever's fed from the media or from, you know, but actually allow space for processing and stuff like that.
Just so you question everything and like figure out what works for you, rather than just like blindly just like consume whatever and not really understand yourself, but just get an understanding of yourself and then like streamlining it, you know? So knowing what works for you, what you're good at or whatever, and
Yeah.
like sticking to those things.
Yeah. Yeah. So you were saying that you did like media studies.
I did. I studied media theory.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And so what does that involve?
It involves, I mean, things have changed a lot. Like I think of going back to school now, and then I'm like, but do I want to study internet culture? Like we're on the internet, but it is really interesting to me, and I like most of the podcasts and things I listen to are that base. Is just like a media dissection of things and how things work on the internet. Even if you look at like the election and how it was won, and so it is all linked to like internet subcultures and stuff, but another topic. But media theory at the time, like I remember even just studying, I was at university when 9/11 happened, and I was studying Baudrillard, who spoke about like simulation and simulacra, that like the simulacra of something, like the copy of something has become more real than the real. Like I studied Deleuze and Guattari, Walter Benjamin, all these like philosophers, because when 9/11 happened, it was this thing of like, oh, the first thing of like, I think we've been desensitized to, like, is this real? Is it not?
Yeah.
Like, it feels faker than the mood. Like, it was just this whole... So it was very interesting being in college then. But, so it's just like how media operates in our lives.
And the media really has just become like, you know, social media has changed the narrative of politics and just like what we do see as real and not real.
Yeah.
So all of that kind of stuff, and truth and post-truth, all of, Yeah.
How do you feel like being, you know, in the US as an Australian, and, you know, and...
well, you've got a new single.
Yeah, I was going to like segue, you know.
I feel
so
lucky.
Your new single is...
I Need a Break from the USA.
Yeah.
Which we kind of did last minute. Like we have a record Berserk coming out in end of Feb. Which is just a commentary on just everything's berserk, and it is more like a bit unhinged synth punk. Like I think that just felt natural. Like some of the songs are a lot shorter, and it's just like how life is acid and trippy. Like real, like everything. We're just in a post world. Where we haven't landed anywhere, you know. I think we're just like in the abyss
Hopefully
of
we haven't
post.
landed.
Hopefully.
But that I feel like lucky that I'm not American and I can comment on it from but then it's like, do I have that right? But I do. Like I think I have an interesting perspective. Like growing up in Australia, like I'm really grateful. I don't know what it would have been like being raised in America and growing up here in LA. Like imagine being in your teens and you know.
It's funny because we interview a lot of people that like grew up in LA or grew up in New York, and they do see themselves as just being really lucky that they grew up because they were culturally at the center
of the world.
But I have the same perspective. I'm very glad that I didn't, because
I am too.
Perspective is the thing that's lacking. When that reality is your only reality, and you don't understand how 99% of the rest of the world is living, and also introspection, you know, the introspection that comes from living in a different place and having to find your way. Yeah,
because I found
develops you
in the 90s finding my way to punk rock. I mean, it was just like record stores and fanzines, and I really was raised by American culture. Like I feel like I need to be here because it was like my mother or something. You know, I just
I don't love America. And American culture,
just pop culture, and the being in the 90s, seeing it firsthand, and like the films that were coming out and the music and but I'm lucky I found my way. So it feels right that I'm here. And even living in Australia, I was always interested in like American politics and what were happening, and so I feel lucky I have some distance, but that I am here, and I hope I got to reapply for my visa next year. Under a Trump presidency, there's that. I don't know. Having a song "I Need a Break" from the USA might not help, but
I mean, you've been here for so long.
I know.
Yeah, so your last solo album was 2019, right? It was just before the pandemic, right?
I did that, and then I had that EP called Cosm. So I had the Celluloid Self one.
Yeah.
Which, because I moved to LA in 2014, it was like 11 years ago, and like Agender was in Melbourne. We like released a record as I moved here, the Fixations record. And then I kind of was like, I don't know what to do with my band. I'll just make solo music. And then that came out. I don't know. That just happened. Like I was just, again, using Logic at home.
Yeah.
And that's a different aesthetic, very different aesthetic, like hard electronic.
Hard electronic, industrial tinges, techno-y. So yeah, I made that record and was playing a lot in it. I feel like the dark electronic thing in LA, a lot of people moved here around that time and they felt like there was like a vibrant scene happening, which I don't know if there is anymore. I don't know why. It was like an interesting time. It just like happened, and
a lot of people left the state too, like a lot of the central people at that time.
So they left like in COVID.
Even earlier.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know what happened. I don't know where. Yeah, it just felt like that LA like had a sound and a thing happening there.
Yeah.
And then, which I don't always think I totally fit into that. I don't know if it was like a queer woman, like one like powerhouse thing that I just never felt totally included and loved in that. And just people were like kind of didn't know what to make of it or me or anything. And then COVID, and then I found my new band here. Like I found the people I wanted to play with, and then I was just like, I just want to make punk rock. Like I want like camaraderie. I want other people who can like support me and have fun, and like an all-girl band. It sounds so much more fun than just being a one-woman thing, and felt a bit lonely. But yeah, and then I did the Cosm EP, but I'm feeling again like I want to make dance music. There's something else about knowing the next 4 years is going to be exhausting, and I'm like, do I want to like make music that has a message or something that just feels like I don't want the responsibility. And I'm just like, I don't know, the club has always been a refuge from this stuff. Like it's like, oh, I just want to make really minimal lyrical, it's just like hard and just there's a few lyrics and I don't have to like, it's just like, let's just move our bodies and not think and not talk, because it's just going to be enough things happening all the time. So I'm feeling like a calling, which I have a bunch of demos from my solo project that I'm redoing, and then just I spent Thanksgiving break working on stuff and just making like techno. You know, like electro techno. I mean, it all needs to have like lyrics and stuff. But so I'm feeling that of just like
that pull. Yeah. And is that going to be like something you do completely on your own, or do you collaborate with others when you do?
No, it is kind of all me.
Yeah.
I mean, it would be nice down the line to like have maybe after all this, I'll like have a collaborative thing with someone. But yeah, it's just easier to, as a Virgo, to get stuff done. But it can be lonely, but I am feeling that calling.
Well, dance music, it's like inherently, I mean, it's social, you know, it's like the body in space, you know, moving to music, and
super therapeutic.
Yeah, it is.
It's really, you know, and I think, you know, going into this time, you know, it's like having that kind of body connection and human.
It also reminds you that if we're bodies, and this kind of thing is also just sort of stupid. Like it's like when you confront life and death, and you realize all the little things like that's the most real thing. You know, is that experience of life and the experience of death. You know, as well.
Yeah, and I think as a queer person, like the queer clubs have always just been like a church and a refuge and a place to like escape and that be with other bodies. So, like that's always been like a really important thing to me. And in queer culture is like dance music and gathering, you know, around it. Yeah. So
and you're like a community leader in that field as well. I mean, you put a lot of events together. You are actually.
You're a DJ too.
And
I'm a good DJ.
Yeah.
No, I do DJ. I run parties here. I mean, it's changing as well. It's like the changing of the guard, like Gen Z. I think after COVID there was a weird period, but now all the young kids, and rightly so, like it's weird also feeling aged out a little bit in everything.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think so much in music, you know.
Yeah.
My friend was, you know, I joke about like in 20 years we're going to be, you know, the whatever's happening now, the revival of it. Like I'll sell a lot of records. And but yeah, I do think like the young kids are coming out, especially in like organizing parties and stuff. And I think they should, because it was for a while, I was like, I'm in my 40s. Like I don't want to be running parties, but I'll do it gladly. But yeah, so things are changing and shifting, but it is still really important to me to create those spaces. And
and not everyone can do it, and not everyone can do it well. So
I have the like introvert extrovert thing.
Yeah. Do you know your moon sign and your rising sign?
Yes. Capricorn moon, Pisces rising, Virgo sun.
Oh, wow.
I know. I think I'm pretty much that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Super.
But I ran parties in Melbourne, so it was just felt like that's where I started it.
Yeah.
Like a friend of mine was like, we should start a party, we'd be good at it, and you can be, I was like the resident DJ in the face, and she was the business person. And then when I moved to LA, it felt like there were kind of queer things lacking, and so I'm lucky I like got my degree in that in Melbourne.
So with Agender, you've got, it's so deep. Is it Agender or Agenda? Let's start there.
Wish I could just change the whole name. Well, I started it in 2011. I got sober and I felt crazy and needed an outlet. And like in Melbourne, just was like in my apartment. Like the first Agenda, I don't know, it was like a play on word. It's like that's my whole shtick, is like a wordplay artist. But I kind of, it works in our accent, the double entendre of agenda. What's your agenda? What's your gender?
Yeah,
But in American, it just is like, what's your gender and what's your agenda? So it falls flat here, which sucks. But I kind of, I say agenda. Like I wish I spelt it agenda now, Agenda. It's too late. But it was also 2011. Things were different. It was like the whole gender thing. It was just like not a big issue.
It's true.
I just think it's just overwrought now, and I just want to change it.
Why is it a big issue right now?
I don't know, but I just like kind of hate that I have it in the name. I said to my band, I would call our band Teorema, like Theorem, which is a Pasolini film, which I love. And they're just like, everyone's like, no, don't. It's good you didn't have some like highbrow film. I probably would have like a film, some like cinephile reference.
Yeah.
That's a bad name now, but it's Agenda. And if I could change the spelling, I would.
Yeah.
Sorry. It's too late.
No, it's good. It's a good name.
I think it's a good name. I really like it.
Okay, thanks.
And this cultural moment will the culture wars will move on.
Yeah, it's true.
I hope so.
Yeah.
It's so tiring.
It's so tiring. It's so
It's just everything is a culture war thing. And
yeah. With Agenda, what's your preference, Agenda or Agenda?
Agenda.
Okay, so with Agenda, is it? So you have the band, you have all of you women, and but it's written by you, and you send out the demos, and then everyone kind of plays the parts that you've written out. And that's how that works. So in a sense, that's another like solo like thing, which is, I mean, some people are players and some people are writers.
I'm a writer. My band's happy with that. Again, we're not like trying to jam. We don't have time to like meet twice a week and jam for an hour. And they're happy with that setup. I mean, I'm happy for variation. Like the bass, Christy bass and Christy drums, they can tweak stuff here and there. And it's like, here's the and so shout out to the band members. Yes, so it's Sarah on synths, Christy on bass, and Christy on drums, and we're 2 Virgos, 2 Cancers, so it works out well.
Nice. That's really nice.
Yeah, the good symmetry.
Yeah,
I think it helps.
Yeah,
those Cancers can be emotional.
Yeah. So you create like a nice little safe safe yet grounded space for
Yeah,
yourselves.
yeah. We have a good dynamic, which obviously helps. And we're all sober. We're all in our 40s, you know.
Yeah.
And it's, I mean, we want to tour. Like, we want to try to do a West Coast tour. But obviously, like, if it worked out and we don't want to, none of us want to do
Go
any
through
kind of
the-
crazy 30 shows in 30. I don't even know if that exists anymore, if you can do that in America. And also, like, being a queer band touring together
Yeah.
in, like, the new America is, like, a whole other thing. But, you know, doing shows that make sense and
Yeah.
interstate and not losing money, like, we're too old for that. So we'd have to,
Yeah.
we want to try and make that work.
Yeah.
Where,
But you do have a new release coming up as a band.
yes,
So there will
end
be
of February.
end of February. So there will be shows around that, and there will be
Yeah.
possibly music videos as well.
Yeah.
You guys do a lot of really good
Yeah.
video stuff too.
We do. We do all that in-house now. I think between mainly Sarah, Synth, and me kind of do all the visual design stuff. She does graphic design, which is so helpful. But I think it's just also the thing of just being like egalitarian about it. Like, I can't spend money anymore. You know, again, the thing of like, it
Yeah.
costs so much to make a record. I cannot
Yeah.
I think the music video format is kind of dead. It's
Yeah.
content now.
It's
But I think it's just like make a 1 minute TikTok. Like, you don't even
Yeah.
need to like, I feel like people don't have attention spans to watch a 3-minute video anymore.
Yeah.
But we do. It is good to make it for content. And as a cinephile and someone who appreciates that medium, it's important for me to make videos, and
Yeah.
I'm having fun with it and just
I mean,
doing what we can. It's just like, okay, how do we make a video for this where it costs nothing? And
They look really like they cost a lot, actually.
oh,
They look
thanks.
really
Well,
good.
yeah, this
Yeah.
round, like the last 4 from this album, like Damage Girls and the I Need a Break, I did that. It's just like collage stuff, which
Yeah.
I love, like essay documentaries. So that's kind of like utilizing that. And then Jeans, we had access, our friend used to work for a photo studio, so we got to shoot there.
Yeah.
I had that concept of just like a 90s jeans ad.
Yeah.
We just shot it there. We had friends help. And then what was the other? Oh, yeah, things we did in like a mall,
yeah.
which we thought would be fun and silly to just walk around the mall together. So yeah, it's just like you again, like creating something out. Like what can we create with like
Yeah.
no money and just
Yeah.
our imagination?
I mean, and like what, 30 years ago, the cameras on our phones would have been ridiculously expensive.
yeah,
It's
Yeah.
like very good equipment is really easy to come by.
yeah,
Now, just, by default,
we're lucky in that
lucky,
regard.
in
Yeah.
that. And same with, editing
Yeah.
software. Yeah, software
Yeah.
and apps and all of that sort of stuff. So
Yeah.
you get to express that creativity. Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you got favorite directors? You said you're a cinephile. Have you got like a couple of favorite films or favorite directors?
I do. I love like spiritual and poetic realism film. I love like realism. So, I mean, I love Robert Bresson.
Yeah.
His simple
Yeah.
spiritual realism.
Have you got a favorite Bresson?
I mean, I really love Pickpocket for some reason. There's just something about that.
Yeah.
I do love like Bergman,
Yeah.
Kozlowski.
Yeah.
I love Hal Hartley, like American independent director.
Yeah.
There's a lot. Agnes Varda, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the Virgo Piscean spiritual realism. It's like
Yeah.
it could be straight out of an astrology book.
Yeah. Bresson was a Libra, which is kind of
he?
strange.
Oh,
but
wow.
weirdly, Cancer has the best directors.
Yeah.
It's strange.
The best directors are Cancerian.
Yeah.
Okay, so who? I mean, I'm thinking like someone that we've, interviewed for this podcast. Michael Salerno is a Cancer, so I can definitely see it there. But also, Cancers are like good leaders.
Yeah.
They're like cardinals, and not a lot of people.
I know.
that.
No, I
Yeah.
think Bergman is, Kozlowski is.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't know.
No, there's a bar. I know, yeah. Sorry, caught me off guard. I could bring the list, but it is, they are like, and then
Yeah.
Sagittarius as well. But Sagittarius have all the women pop stars.
Yeah.
like Britney, Nicki Minaj, like I
Right,
think
they
Trina
do.
is, I think Remy Ma, all these like really strong female rappers are
A lot of good
Sagittarius.
composers, Sagittarius as well.
That makes sense. It's-
Beethoven and Andrew. He's cusp Scorpio. Sag.
happy birthday, both of you.
He's got Scorpio moon and Scorpio rising.
He's got a Scorpio.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do.
The Sag keeps you a bit less intense.
I used to be jealous of air signs and fire.
Yeah. I think we always are who we are, and
Yeah.
and
then,
it's the best feeling to be who we are at
Yeah.
the end of the day.
no, I'm happy I'm an earth sign. Like, I'm so
Yeah.
happy I'm a Virgo. But when I would see couples, you know how like air and fire are compatible and like, water and earth are. I'm so,
Yeah.
it's so bored. I look at my like other friends who are couples in like air and fire and it's like, oh my God, they're so like not as serious and playful. They're like joy. I don't know. It's like, I'm like, but now I'm happy about it. 'Cause,
I like
would-
serious.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
need to be grounded. Oh my
Yeah.
God. If you're not grounded, I don't know what that must feel like.
Especially in this day and age where
Yeah.
not being grounded can really lead you down the weird paths of lack of realism.
Grateful for my sanity and that I'm not like a red-pilled person
Yeah. Yeah.
or black-pilled. Yeah.
Well, I was thinking, when we were listening, to your music today and getting ready, I was like, this is really helpful. This is a really
Okay,
helpful thing
Yeah.
to be experiencing in this day and age. I think music matters, and I think it matters a lot. It's how we not just survive, but how we transcend
Yeah.
as well. So,
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank
for
you
being
too.
me.
And I think what you do, where it's like a meeting, where it's music, but you're also like a community leader. You're a DJ and party person and stuff like that. Just bringing those things together. I think that's the magic recipe.
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
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 I think so too.
Because
like, it
you're
feels good and
a
it feels like I'm
community-
being of service, which is like my main purpose.
Yeah.
For me.
You're a community
Yeah.
leader, even just through your music, even, as much as putting events on and being a DJ, you're a community leader. You can feel the community leadership in your lyrics, in your, the things that you do that are really innovative actually and very unique and nobody else does what you do.
Thank you.
And I think always nobody else has done what you do. Everything I've ever heard of yours has always been extremely unique. And I think that's what gives it a leadership quality as well.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm on my path, and again,
Yeah.
I feel like I'm just a medium for a message and just channeling something, so it's not even me.
Yeah, yeah.
But it is, this is like the body and the vessel to get that out, and yeah.
That's it. Yeah. It's really special.
Thank you.
Really grateful that you
Yeah, this was really fun, and I'm
spoke
glad
with
we're
us
like,
today.
in LA together in this time in history.
Yeah.
You
I
also made it
know.
over.
Yeah. Australians in LA together.
Yeah,
Surviving the weird.
yeah.
Thanks, Romy. Thanks so much
Okay.
for being part of the Night Temple.
Thank you, Night Temple.
And look out for the new Agender record called
Berserk.
Berserk, and a new
Sunset.
Romy record coming up
Yeah,
sometime.
I'm EPs. I'm only
EP.
doing EPs
EPs.
for
Cool.
that. But
Yeah.
yes, I hopefully summertime. I'm hoping.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And for anyone in LA, go see Romy live. Go see Agender live.
Yeah.
It's a real absolute treat. Yeah. Just
Thank you.
see you live as well. You're really good.
Yeah.
You're awesome.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Thanks.
Paper roses flow was born